Hey guys, Parker here. Today, we're going to be looking through insurance auto auctions because I have an opening in my driveway now that my truck's gone, and I want you guys to help me find what car I should buy next. So without further ado, let's jump into this. Now, I am going to let you guys know I did start without you guys because I was looking last night and I found a couple cars. So we're going to start off with a 1990 Infiniti Q45. Now this car is listed as mechanical damage. It does not run, and it has a weight title, so we don't know if it's clear or not, which is a little concerning. These wheels also do look like the camber is a little off, and then the paint is shot. This car is really rough, guys. And then there's dirty carpet, and then we've got the pretty standard seat tearing. And then we got this damage right here. This is a little concerning right here. The scuff right here. The door can be easily replaced, but the scuff right there, it might be a little hard to remedy. 159,000 miles, which is nothing for a car like this. Back seat is pretty nice, but the carpet. Ugh. It's not supposed to be orangish, is it? And then there's your VIN. And then here is your Infiniti V8. It looks okay under here. There's a couple lines missing right there. Looks like we got a pretty fresh battery though. And then no fob, of course, because why would they provide a fob? But this car is really, really rough, guys. It's a maybe, but I think I might move on. How about a 1993 Plymouth Sundance? I did not even know any of these were left in the US, much less the West Coast. The paint looks really nice, but I'm going to show you guys what concerns me about this car. Now, it is an automatic. The seats are pretty nice, pretty standard curling dashboard. Looks like a pretty base car because it's a 93. It's got the airbag. Pretty sure all Chrysler cars got airbags after 1990. 102,000 miles, which isn't bad. And back seats pretty nice. Again, worn carpet's becoming a trend. There's your VIN. This is what concerns me here. This car used to be a really pretty blue. And then it looks like they did a shabby repaint job under the hood and the outside. Because you're not going to take the engine out to paint a car like this. It's not worth it. But look at those hood springs. That's kind of interesting in a car like this. No, not struts, springs. So that's an interesting little feature. Air conditioning, interestingly. This car has the 2.2 liter, which I'm pretty sure was the Mitsubishi Cirrus engine. Correct me if I'm wrong. But it's $378 in DMV fees. It has 2 keys. Those look like the original ones. I doubt this car would have a fob. My guess is this car was old person owned. Let's listen to it run. This car does sound like it has a little lifter noise. Take a listen. Now, this car does sound like it has a little bit of lifter noise. So that's a little concerning. Maybe somebody didn't change the oil. Looks like a pretty new oil filter on it, so maybe the oil's too thin? Might take some 40 weight? I do not know. But this car is a definite maybe. Moving on to GM, how about a 1995 Saturn SL1? For those of you Saturn guys out there, I hope there's a couple of you watching. The SL1 is the base car. You got some options, but it's pretty standard. Non-body colored bumpers, Got a missing marker light there. The paint is peeling. There's a crack right there. Or a crack or a scrape. There's a big crack right there. Looks like it got keyed because there's a scratch going down the side. And again, it's base car, so you have cloth, manual windows. But this car, interestingly enough, has the automatic transmission and a cassette deck and air conditioning. Something else it has? Only 62,000 miles. This car was definitely old person owned. I like those hubcaps. But then there's your crack. Look at it again, 62,000 miles. I like the 1994 and down gauge cluster better. I don't know about you guys, but that gauge cluster just looks better to me. But this is a little concerning. It looks like a box of crayons exploded back here. It got on the backrest. It's all over the bottom of the seat. So, and they don't sell these on eBay, so I'd have to go to a junkyard and pull the seats to replace them. But it's a pretty nice car. There's your VIN tag. There's your single overhead cam engine, air conditioning. But the single overhead cam is what the base car's got. If you got the SL2, you got the twin cam Saturn 1.9 liter. And then one key, probably the original one at that. There's another Saturn behind it, which is an SL2 that sold a while ago. I'm wondering if these two cars came from the same house. That would be kind of interesting. But 62,000 miles. And there you have it. Let's take a listen to her run. Now, I'm surprised this car isn't listed as mechanically damaged, because this engine looks like it's doing the shimmy shake or something. It's got a definite misfire. Take a listen. So yeah, there's a definite misfire judging by that engine shake. And then it also has been sitting for a while. The DMV fees and these cobwebs show that. And the dead foliage up here. But other than that, looks like a pretty nice car. On to the next one. How about a real rarity? A 1981 Chevy Chevette. I am amazed there's even one of these left in the US. Now, this one obviously has been sitting for a really long time. It's collected some friends. In the bumper there, it's got some body damage there. Lots of dirt that was built up on the bottom of the doors there. It doesn't look rusty though. Back here, a little rust on the fuel door, a little damage there. Not too concerning, but all the trim is missing, except for right there. Some bumper stickers there, taped up window. And this thing is an automatic, so this is probably one of the slowest Chevy Chevettes ever made. And we got a dash mat, some really weird wool seat covers. I'm sure those smell awesome. And the carpet's dirty, but it's not horrible. And again, it shows the damage. Now, unfortunately, this car does have a salvage title, by the way. So that's unfortunate. The only reason I would believe that is 69,000 miles and not 169,000 miles is because this thing has been sitting somewhere for a really long time. And then you've got the, what is this, vinyl rear seat? The carpet's much nicer back here, so this was probably old person owned. And then manual windows, of course. I don't think you could get power in the Chevette. Here's your VIN. Look at all of this dead greenery right here. And then right there by the heater box. Things were definitely living in this car. I'm also sure this was a timing belt engine, which is a little concerning. But, then look at that ancient battery. That thing is old. And yeah, this car, in summary, has been sitting for a really long time. It would take a little bit of work to nurse it back to life, but personally, I'd do it. Now, I just want to know what you guys think. Comment below which one of these cars you would want to see. Now, an interesting fact about these Chevettes is I'm pretty sure you could get 2 gasoline engines, but you could also get an Isuzu diesel engine in this car, which is kind of interesting. I'm sure there's none left. I don't think there's even any left on row 52. But it is carbureted, obviously, because it's a cheap economy car. Why would you put fuel injection in it in 1981? And according to Insurance Auto Auction's actual cash value is $500. So that sounds about right. Moving on from this car. Now we enter the 1998 Chevy Lumina Taxi. This thing it's not as rough as it looks. Because you got the paint fading, it could use a paint job, but Mako could take care of that for like $500 maybe. Look how nice this interior is. And it doesn't look like we got the books. Doesn't look like there's a window sticker, so that's kind of disappointing. Rear view mirror fell out. Sun visors probably won't stay up. Manual mirrors. Is that front power windows only? No, there's 4 power windows. I was gonna say that would be interesting if there's manual rear windows. Glove box probably is closed. Aftermarket head unit, excuse me. That's the damage. The trim fell off there. I'm sure that's easy to source. 1,000 miles. The best part about this car is it's a 1998, so it has the 3800 Generation 2. Best engine ever made by General Motors. These are unkillable. Transmission's not so sure, but this engine is unkillable. If you get the supercharged one, they're pretty zippy too, as far as I know. Now, it has been sitting because $266 in fees, and more dead greenery above the cowl. And the back seat looks like nobody's ever sat in it before. And yes, power rear windows. There's a switch right there, interestingly. Peeling up armrest. Cloth looks really, really good. Ew. That's a grody seatbelt. Okay, moving on from that. The seat pockets aren't even sagged out. These are pretty solid cars. And worn out keys. Oh, look at that key. Okay, this car looks like it has 180,000 miles on it, but the key says otherwise. And it doesn't run. Guys, this is even worse than the Infinity. I like it better than the Infinity, but I would lose my shorts on this car, for sure. So let's move on. Moving on to a better car. This is something I actually know a little about. A 2006 Saturn Vue. What they don't say about this in the title, it is a red line. You can tell by the bumper, the wheels, it sits a little higher. I think it was raised 2 inches. And it's a really straight car. Excuse me. As far as I know, this thing is being sold by a dealer. It's got brake dust, missing center caps. I'm sure those are easy to find. There's a dent in the tailgate there. There's your little red line badge. It's cute. The bodywork doesn't look all that bad. All-wheel drive, V6. We'll get to that in a minute. The inserts are supposed to be that color. I'm sure I might be able to clean that up. Excuse me, with a steam cleaner. This thing has a better sound system than the Saturn, the standard Vue. Pretty straight. It looks like it might have been sitting somewhere because it is dirty. I can't tell if that's mildew or something. The wipers cleaned some of it off. This thing is actually kind of low miles, 117,000. And we've got a couple lights on, but it's not running right now, so. And then really, really low fuel. But it does run and drive, and it also has almost $1,000 in DMV fees, so we'd have to take care of that on top of everything else. There's no body damage that's noticeable aside from that dent in the tailgate. Oh, it has been sitting. There's stuff there. Out of the cars we've looked at so far, this is my favorite. But that is a Honda engine. That's the 3.5 liter V6 that was used in the MDX. And I was wrong but in that one video. It was not used in the Pilot. It was a slightly different engine that was used in the Pilot. But unlike the MDX, the View did not come with navigation. So that's kind of disappointing. And then we have a fob. A little bit of worn out fob. And that looks like the original key. Let's take a listen to a run. Now this video does tell us a couple things. We have a brand new battery, first of all. And there is a little bit of a magic smoke escaping right here. We might have a cracked exhaust manifold or something. Or it broke due to corrosion, maybe, because look at this intake manifold. This is aluminum. Look how corroded this is, and rodents have been moving in up here. That might be rodent pee right there. And then they're bringing stuff up here. But let's take a quick listen. But we do have some magic smoke escaping from down here. Don't know what that could be. If that Chevette wasn't peak malaise era for you, how about this? A 1986 Chevy Cavalier Z24. For those of you who don't know, the Z24 was the sporty trim of the Cavalier, or sporty-ish, I guess I should say. Now this car is in absolutely mint condition. The carpet's nice, the seats are immaculate, and so are the door panels. Now this is the damage here. That's a little concerning right here. I could have a PDR guy come and do that maybe. But the door would definitely need to be replaced. I've looked on eBay, I can't find a single one, so that might be a little bit of a problem. By far the coolest part of the car is the digital gauge cluster. I didn't even know Cavaliers had one. So, and that also means we cannot see the miles because we don't have a key. Back seats, I wouldn't be surprised if nobody had ever sat back there before. And then there's the VIN. Then there is our 2.8 litre V6. The battery hold down strap is broken, or the bolt fell out. Look, guys, look how tight this engine bay is. Imagine doing a serpentine belt on this thing. Look, guys, this is really packed. Even doing spark plugs looks like a job. Or plug wires. But plugs too, because you have to get to the back of the engine. That looks like an insane pain in the butt. I mean, this car is pretty solid, but unfortunately they just aren't worth anything. So, let's move on to the next one. Now we are here at SCA Auctions because this car is on Insurance Auto Auctions website right now, but they do not have any pictures of it. SCA, however, does. This is a 1990 Hyundai Sonata. I didn't even know these existed anymore. You have the driver's window down. It's a really straight car. That may or may not be a dent. No, it's not. Got a donut in the back for some reason. But it has the 3-liter V6. Automatic, of course. I think they all were. The bumper's coming off a little bit. Only 142,000 miles. Look at these gauges. You even have an oil pressure gauge. Honda did a good job here. We have a Duracell battery. Not much going on over here aside from the fact that it is dirty. Now, I don't even know if this car is still at auction anymore because there's no pictures on IAA's website, and it's according to this website it was last updated 10/20 of 2023. So I'd have to go to the auction to see if this car is indeed there. But on to the next one. If any of you guys who are watching right now are subscribed to the Car Wizard, you know to never buy one of these, a Chevrolet Traverse. And I have a perfect example here, because this one, it's in Massachusetts, but I was scrolling the other day, and I found this. It's listed as mechanically damaged, salvage Connecticut title, or Hartford. It's pretty grody inside. You have almost no gas in it. Then there's your 3.6 liter. Listen to this thing run. This thing runs like it has a hole in the block. However, this Traverse has permission to be blown up. 291,000 miles. A 300,000 mile Chevy Traverse with almost all the lights on is unheard of. That is absolutely crazy. So, in summary, never buy a Chevy Traverse. Let's continue looking. So, we have gotten to the end of all the cars that I am watching. Let's start searching up the cars that I have not showed you guys yet. Now, there is one rare one near me. It is a 2008 GMC Yukon Hybrid. And somehow it has $1,071 in DMV fees, but aside from that, look at this. It has all the graphics. You get the hybrid graphic on the windshield, on the door, you get the badges, and you get the hybrid graphic on the window, the hybrid badge on the back. GM really bragged about only getting 4 miles per gallon better. And it also has navigation, which is pretty cool. But needs bumper clips, I could do that myself. 174,000 miles. And the interior of this thing is really, really nice. It has been sitting for a while. I have no idea if any lights are on. I'd have to go to the auction. It has remote start, and it better for costing. I think this thing costs almost $10,000 more than a standard Yukon. So, I mean, it better have all the niceties and luxuries. And then you do have a broken mirror. Let's take a listen to it run. Let's take a listen to the hybridized Vortec 6.0. Okay, first off, video quality and sound quality are horrible. Something that's a little concerning is all the water that was on top of this engine. I'm not sure if that's from rain coming. Actually, that's probably from rain coming down off this cowl and onto the engine. Hopefully that didn't damage the hybrid system. I do hear like a slight tick 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 tick. I think that might be coming from one of the accessory drives. Other than that, it runs pretty good. So let's go on to the next one. Okay, let's move on from the Yukon to a special Chevy Monte Carlo. This is a Z34. It actually has the improved quad cam the quad cam 3.4 liter V6. I say quad cam, but it's two dual overhead cams. These engines were known to break timing belts, and 1996 was the year they made it an interference engine. But they also improved the engine a little bit. They redesigned the heads and put in revised cams, and power went up from 210 to 215 horsepower and 215 to 220 pound-feet of torque. Then you got your key with the chip in it. This thing has been sitting, judging by the tires. Now, with a car like this, you gotta wonder why it was parked, because my truck had a slight transmission issue, so we had to have the valve body rebuilt, and that's probably why it was parked. This car has a little bit of a more worrying issue, where, it could have gotten parked because the timing belt blew. Looks like an original California car, though, because the 3 in the front of the license plate. 3RRW997. We'll have to run the smog check on that. We'll do that in a minute. It's a 334, so we got the niceties. We got the console shift, of course. Curling dashboard, that's extra. Cloth. And again, it has been sitting. Hey, it will need some attention back here. 146,000 miles, so that isn't bad at all. It's a maybe. It's a definite maybe. So, let's run the smog check history. If it will load, we'll do this. Okay. The license plate was 3RRW997. 997. And here we go, 1996 Chevy Monte Carlo. Oh boy, that's not good. So we've got 4 smog check fails in a row. That's a little concerning. It failed once here, then it passed. At exactly 10 a.m. too. That's interesting. Okay, it was originally smogged here. It spent 2 years somewhere else because it was smogged in 2000. You have to get a car here smogged every 2 years, I think. Here, the smog check was aborted. This was the 4th in this state. Then we've got a bunch of passes, a fail, then a pass, then 4 fails in a row. This car did not do too great here. But then we got a pass. What's interesting is, that's not that long ago. That was only 3 years ago. Today is May 18th. And so this car's been off the road a little over 4 years. So that's not bad. SAR certification required. Yes. It's the first time I've ever seen that before. So that's interesting. But it passed, so we knew it was healthy when it got parked. We'd have to run a Carfax on it to be sure. But it's a maybe. It's even got the factory radio. This car was definitely old person owned. An old person with a taste in cars, surely. On to the next one, I guess. Let's look at some cutlasses. Now, a couple of these near us. Bid now. No, we are not. So we got this 95 Cutlass Supreme that is in Santa Clarita. This thing runs and drives $268 in fees. Now the different color front end is a little concerning. Oddly enough, it has a clear title, and then different colored rear bumper. This car is all messed up. I'm not sure what happened. Leather. These seats are immaculate, by the way. Dash mat, steering wheel's grody. Ooh. Is that degrading or is that mold? I'm gonna say it's degrading because it's a GM. 169,000 miles. Doesn't look like any lights are on, except the seatbelt light. A little dusty back here. And then there's your 3.1. Rodents have been moving in up here. And then we got a fob. First car, third car we looked at today that has a fob. This car is probably a little too rough for me. We'd have to have a complete repaint done. Unless. I looked on row 52 the other day. There's one of these in a junkyard near me that is the right color. It has all the right body panels. If I could do like a front clip swap from the two cars, I might not have to paint it. So, comment below what you guys want to see. Let's move on from this car. There is actually kind of a road trip opportunity waiting on one of these cars. Let's see if I can find it. It is a 1990. Here it is. 1993 Oldsmobile Cutlass Sierra. It's the S, so I think that's the base. It's in Tucson, Arizona. That's the damage right back there. I'll get to that in a minute. Both tires on the side are blown. We got a dash mat that isn't the right color. I don't think they make the dash mat in that color for this car. Needs a rear door and a front door, maybe. I think I could source those pretty easily. Mismatched tires, 120,000 miles. The most interesting part about this car is the engine. It has a 3.3 liter. It's kind of an obscure engine. I think it's a bored down version of the 3800. Then we got keys. Let's take a listen. I know that was incredibly low sound, but this car actually runs really good. Now, it is very dirty under here. There's dirt everywhere. This car has probably lived through a couple sandstorms. Oh, look at all the dirt that's on the oil right there by the dipstick. 3300, it's fuel injected, of course, because it's a 93. Looks like it's got all original coil packs. That may or may not be a bad thing. Serpentine belt looks okay. Got a fairly new alternator. And a never start battery. So let's move on to the next car. There is a Oldsmobile Cutlass Supreme up here too. It is in Fremont, 300 miles away. This thing has $468 in DMV fees. Bio mold, we'll get to that in a minute. I'm not sure if it's outside the car or inside, because this car has been sitting under a tree for quite some time. The rearview mirror's falling out. Original radio. Console shift. Oh, that might be what they're talking about right there. Window may or may not leak. Oh, okay. That's how the seat's supposed to look. Oh, there's rat turds there. I just noticed that. So, things have been getting inside this car. I can only imagine how it smells. That may or may not be the same steering wheel that the Oldsmobile Aurora has, because it looks exactly like it. Dual airbags. Oh, there's all the mold. That's a lot of mold. I'm not sure how I would get that out of there without harming anything. Probably have to ozone it out. Need the driver's seat. Looks like lots of water has sat there. Kind of unfortunate. But let's move on to the next car. I really like this car. I really do. 112,000 miles. Ripped rear seat somehow. 3,100. Look how long this thing's been sitting. I can only imagine how long this thing's been off the road. You know what? Let's run the VIN. And hang on, there's a date under the hood. What is that? New battery 5. Oh! New battery 527 of 13. Is that a GM service tag? Wow. Tune air. Okay, it's a bunch of information there. Where is the battery? Where is the battery? Don't tell me it's under there. Is it over here? It could be under there. I think it's under there. So we know this thing's been off the road sometime between 2013 and 2024. I was 3 years old, guys. Wow. In, about a week, or 9 days from now, is when it'll be the anniversary of this car getting a new battery. So that's kind of funny. It would have been what, almost, it would have been 11 years. Wow. So let's run this VIN through the smog check history and see what it shows. This is what I'm forced to do as a peasant who's not registered. Copy that in, and then 304,705. Let's see what it says. What? There's no way this thing was on the road in 2021. I unsmogged at exactly 11 a.m. There's no way this thing was on the road in 2021. Look at it. There's no way. That Monte Carlo was sitting... Oh. I just thought of something. They're at the same place at IA. Both smogged in 2021. 3R... RW... RW997, I think it was. Yeah, 997. It's 3/17/21, 11 a.m. 4/15/21. Okay, I'm beginning to think this is less of a coincidence. And this Cal Sierra and that Monte Carlo might have come from the same place. Because, I mean, they've both been sitting. This Cutlass has just had it a lot worse than the Monte Carlo. Let's move on to the next car. I found quite a few cars. One is an Oldsmobile Alero. Let's look for it. I have never owned an Oldsmobile before, and I plan to own one very soon. A GX. But this one is a manual transmission. But unfortunately it's all the way on the other side of the country. And there's that one I'm looking for. We'll look at that in a minute. Oh, an electric blue one. Of course, it's a 2.2. Okay. I want to call attention to this car. It is a 2004 Oldsmobile Alero GLS top trim. And I want a channel like Vecor. I'll have a link to him in the description. He rebuilds Pontiac Grand Ams. This is the same platform, the N platform. This car is a lot more special than a Grand Am, I'll be the first to admit that, because it's a final 500 edition. Only lights that are on, change oil, and airbag, of course. You gotta have a tank of fuel, too, and it runs. This car deserves to be put back on the road, even with 200,000 miles on it, because it's so special. This is one of the last Oldsmobiles off the line, people. Excuse me. And there's your badge to prove it. Since 1897 to 2004. Now, somebody needs to save this car. I'll put a link to the description, or I'll put a link to this thing in the description below. Moving on from my little history lesson, let's get back to that Alero. It's in GL. Normally I wouldn't even bother looking at a 4-cylinder Oldsmobile Alero, but this car's being a first year, it has sat somewhere forever, by the way. It's white, so it would be easy to take care of that. It's not bad inside. Original radio. A little bit of scuff there. Can't know the miles. Interior is nice. There's the reason why I'm looking at this. It is the 2.4 liter twin cam 4-cylinder. That is directly related to the Quad 4. Now these would be pretty zippy cars with the Getrag 5-speed manual that this car does not have. It's got an aftermarket alarm system on it, because it's got aftermarket fobs. But we got 2 keys, people. And we got a house key. We got 2 keys. That's very rare. Moving on from this car, let's see if we can find something else. Very last car of the day. A 2009 Chevy Malibu Hybrid. Now, there's a non-zero chance I'm going to buy this car, because it's 1,000 miles away, and it's insurance auto auctions. You never know. It could be a good car, it could be a bad car. Clear title, it's donated, so that's a plus. A little bit of front end damage right there on the side. 154,000 miles. I got a check engine light. It runs. Then we've got the Ecotech right there. Hybrid, of course. That's the only reason I'm looking at this car. And we got a fob. Let's take a listen to her run. Well guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. Thank you for watching. Hit the thumbs up button and like and subscribe because it helps out my channel. I'm almost at 100 subscribers. Now, if you saw any car in this video that I missed, or you want me to buy, or if there's any kind of car you want me to see, comment below. I would love some help in finding a good car that you guys would like to see.